Anthony, nice to be talking to you. Thanks a lot for just partnering with us. Can you maybe start by telling us a bit more about Insider, your role at Insider, how the RFP process fits into your day to day?
Yeah, happy to be here. And it's always great working with great folks like yourselves. It makes the whole process and partnership a lot easier. I'm Anthony Pukal. I'm a solutions consultant at Insider, and Insider powers personalized marketing. We help turbocharge conversations, boost engagement, and transform overall customer experiences across web, mobile, email, lots of other channels. Really help brands grow smarter and fast. I've been doing this for about a decade as well as a solutions consultant and solutions engineer. And really, my role is to help brands understand what are problems they face in their business and then what are solutions that they can achieve with technology. And so a lot of that goes through RFPs. And in order to be down selected, we have to connect to those goals and the questions that they're asking inside of RFPs.
It's awesome. So, what does your day to day responsibilities look like with respect to RFPs or generally otherwise as well?
Yeah. So I'm responsible for giving product demos and helping connect the technology back to specific use cases and outcomes these brands might want to deliver. For example, in email, how do you personalize it? Include dynamic content and products that people are interested in. I can help bring those use cases to life and show how the day to day would be for different brands. We also have to deal with RFPs, which are a litany of questions, lots of different stakeholders that might be curious, both from a marketing side and a technical side. How does this technology actually work? And I'm responsible for answering those RFPs in combination and partnership with our account executive.
Got it. Awesome. So, what were the primary challenges, or what were your primary challenges or pain points in RFP process before you started using Inventive's AI solution?
Yeah, we had a really rudimentary setup here at Insider prior to using Inventive. We had all of our answers within Google Sheets. So we had to be very good at Control F and finding the relevant keywords that would help us get to an answer more quickly. And if there was none, we would have to create the answer ourselves from scratch.
Got it. Okay. So other than sort of like control F, were there any other challenges or are there still other challenges that you face in this whole process of, doing RFPs, which definitely is a tedious process?
Yeah, another piece that was the challenge is staying up to date, right? With software, products change constantly. There's always some new feature, functionality, and capability that's being released. So how do we stay aware of that and change the answers to be most relevant in this RFP that we're responding back to? So that was definitely a challenge as well, because even though this sheet had an answer, it could have been a year or 2 years old. And at that point, be very out.
Got it. Okay. And roughly, like, how big is your team right now that, like, the solutions teams essentially that focuses on doing RFPs, and how do you typically collaborate between the team members right now?
Yeah. Insider is a really big team globally. We've got more than 1,000 employees across all departments and regions at the company. And specifically within the solutions team, we've got about a dozen individuals that are directly doing the role that I also do. Some regions don't get RFPs, and some regions, like mine, we get a good amount of RFP. And so how do we collaborate is being able to update our responses and the repository. But Inventive makes that pretty easy because whenever we enter a new question or maybe we tweak an answer that was generated for us, Inventive's learning from all of those things automatically. And we don't have to go in and create new answers or adjust existing answers. Inventive is just learning as things go along, and it really takes a lot of the burden off of us.
Got it. Cool. So maybe jumping into how did you decide to get inventive inside of Insider? Like you've been using like a product for a long time, but just going back to those initial stages, right? Like what made you decide that inventive was the right solution, even compared to some of the alternative softwares that you might have known about or any in-house approaches?
Yeah, the RFP solution market has kind of been a niche market, but it's been growing over time and there's more and more players. So at Insider, we knew we had a problem. We knew there was a way to create more efficiencies and help us win more RFPs while doing so. And so we had a project internally of let's find a solution. Let's find a tool that helps us move faster. And Inventive happened to show up when we were doing our initial what vendors should we pursue and continue to talk to. And from that as well, one of our requirements was to do like POC and be able to actually use the platform and see how it would answer certain questions from RFPs that we had. The Inventive team was fantastic in that partnership. And I would say not only was the software excellent to use and really gave us that confidence of, yeah, we can answer these not only more quickly, but more robustly and more accurately to help us focus time on other things. But the people and the team behind the software were equally, if not more, as collaborative to.
Got it. Were there any like specific features or functionalities that stood out and convinced you to move forward with Inventive compared to other solutions?
Yeah, it was certainly the AI piece of Inventive, right? Where other solutions that were previously built, they didn't take the concept of AI into consideration when they were creating their platform. And that's really the foundation of Inventive. It's built all around AI. You can't blindly trust the AI, but what you can do is you can put a lot of confidence in that AI, and then you can tweak it accordingly based on little nuances from each and every RFP that you might have. And this really gave us a critical advantage when it came to the evaluation of other software is it's got great answers out of the box. And if it's not exactly right, we can help tweak it with really minimal input from ourselves to get the exact answer that we're looking for to help shape our overall statement or overall answers and ways we want to communicate value back to the prospect who issued the RFP.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, that's super helpful to know. Can you walk us through your onboarding experience and the implementation process of the software in your organization, right? Like, what were the timelines like? What were the milestones like? How did the technical setup work? How was the user training, knowledge of creation, and so on? So anything and everything that you potentially remember from when you onboarded the platform a couple of months ago.
Yeah. And what I have to double down on and double click into is that it was very collaborative. The Inventive team was there assisting the entire time. So we never felt that we were just off cast or forgotten about. We actually felt very well taken care of. And for our team in particular, we were onboarded very quickly. We had a repository of knowledge that we could upload into the platform, into the Knowledge Hub, and that kickstarted the process of how we could then answer new RFPs. In addition to that, we were able to connect our own product knowledge base. We call it the Insider Academy, which has a ton of information that really accelerated every type of answer that we could put into a response. And that's probably a game changer for us. And I would say another piece with the onboarding from other tools, they very likely only have the existing responses or answers from your previous RFPs. Whereas the Inventive solution, we could do that plus integrate our own knowledge base. We could integrate Confluence articles as well if that was deemed necessary. So the onboarding was fantastic. I can say we never had an issue. And if there was something that kind of we had a speed bump, the team was there to assist as well and give us guidance and give us help on how do we move forward.
Got it. Okay. Yes. And just maybe digging into the weeds a little bit, I'm sure there was some hiccups that happened when we were setting up the account with you guys, right? Like what were some of the initial hurdles or challenges that you faced during the initial implementation? And if they were resolved, how were they resolved?
Yeah. Sometimes, it's all about the inputs that help you achieve specific outputs. So our team, sometimes you might want to move fast. And if you move fast, you could break things. So if we're supplying not the right type of data in some of the RFP answers that we've done previously, well, the AI is going to take that and it's going to start to believe, hey, this is good. Now we started to see a couple of answers where it was maybe a little bit funky or odd to see that type of a response. But when we surfaced it with the team, we were able to course correct. We're able to remove those types of answers from the Knowledge Hub if necessary, or tweak some of those answers in the Knowledge Hub as well. And there's one thing about like a confidence score or being able to like upvote an answer versus downvote an answer. And that concept really helped ensure that only the best information is being used moving forward for any future responses.
Got it. Okay, cool. And then like every tool, like sales teams are clouded with like so many tools, right? Like there's just you name a problem and there is a tool right now for the sales teams, and overwhelm is like a big problem within the sales team. How do you think your team adapted to the new AI-driven RFP management system? And I'm sure there are challenges that you guys face even today, right? Like with adoption and stuff like that. Can you just elaborate on how did your team adapt and where there are gaps right now?
Yeah, I would say for a sales tool, this is probably one of the easier ones to adopt, just given the time that you get back to go focus on other activities that are going to help you close deals. RFPs are like a necessary evil. I don't think anybody wants to issue an RFP, and I don't think anybody wants to respond to an RFP if they had, full free choice. However, we have to do these things. They are just part of the process and the proper due diligence. And so the faster we can get through these answers and feel confident with their results, the better we can start to move through the entire sales process. So onboarding for our team, it was very easy to see the value. I don't have to spend, let's say it's for the sake of math, 100 question RFP. I don't have to spend 4 or 5 hours answering these 100 questions. I can spend 20 to 30 minutes reviewing or tweaking the answers. And now I can focus more on how do I attack this account? What type of things did we see in the RFP that help us tailor a demo in my particular role? Or what types of things when we talk about business value and ROI can our account executives look at from what we saw in the RFP and start to plan a plan of attack as well on this is exactly how we're going to go after this account and how we could likely partner with them in a future state. And so this was, again, the easiest way for our team to get that adoption because there's an immediate value add for you. And afterwards, the platform is really easy to use. The UI is easily navigated. The questions and answers, it's very straightforward on how to receive that actual value once you've logged into the platform and you're bought in on what Inventive can actually bring to your day.
Cool. In terms of the impact that Inventive has had on your organization or your team, can you share some specific metrics or data that can illustrate how impactful this has been for your team or organization?
Yeah, it's very stark contrast from not having Inventive to having Inventive inside of our stack, our tool belt. Without Inventive, I'll go back for the sake of math to 100 questions. An RFP of 100 questions could take 4 to 5 hours. And that's not including like security reviews. And if we get to the next stage, there's typically other things that happen after the RFP, if we're fortunate enough to move forward. And so now with Inventive, as I mentioned, that timeline is significantly reduced. 4 to 5 hours turns into 20 to 30 minutes, maybe a little bit more, an hour maximum for that type of amount of questions. And so it's been really an entire transformation here at our organization to help give us more time back in our day and focus on higher value add activities rather than just typing away for countless hours trying to answer.
Got it. And is this has this time saving helped you in any way to win more RFPs or, like create better outputs? What's your sense around like how has this impacted your RFP process?
Yeah, I'm really glad you asked that. And because not only has it helped us save time, but it's also helped us win more. It's giving us the opportunity to move faster inside of these RFP processes overall, because we're not just getting it in at the 10th hour right before the deadline. We're getting it in early and we're getting it in with better answers than we ever had before. So our win rate has increased significantly, say by more than 50% previously. And the reason to that was, answering these is kind of a drag and you get stuck in it. You're looking at these spreadsheets for hours and hours and just kind of want to get through it and be done. So the quality of your answer over time can like start to tail off. Well, with Inventive, that's not the case. Our answers are consistently robust, descriptive, and have a lot of detail. And so when we turn in our RFPs with that type of content, early, it only bolsters our ability to prove that we can be a fantastic partner for these folks that are evaluating us.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, that's very good to hear. And then beyond the numbers, right? Like, of course, like proposal teams or solutions teams are always, like racing against deadlines and stuff. I'm just curious, like, what qualitative benefits have you noticed beyond like the efficiency gains?
Just overall enthusiasm for an RFP, right? Rather than getting, hey,
Uh,
we got a new RFP, the whole team's like, oh, man, we got a new RFP. And yes, there's excitement because it's a new deal. But
uh,
typically, if it's a big RFP, we know the workload is going to be massive. And not just for one individual, multiple people on the sales team. And so now with Inventive, hey, we got an RFP, we feel a lot more excitement and energy around that because it's not this huge, massive, gargantuan effort that has to go into it with maybe 30%, 40% chance of winning. It's a lot less effort without losing the quality and seeing higher results where we've got 50, 60, 70% chance of moving to the next stages and actually winning the deal.
got it. Yeah, that's very good to hear. In terms of knowledge hub, right? Like one of the biggest challenges that all the teams face that do RFPs is, like just creating and managing the knowledge hub. How have you guys been using the knowledge hub within Inventive to, like maximize the effectiveness of the responses?
Yeah. Getting the answers into the system initially, right? That takes a good amount of effort, but you're gonna reap the rewards very quickly. And then the ongoing maintenance of that, it's not a huge level of effort, right? If there's a new feature or new capability that didn't exist before, so we certainly want to add some type of response or a help article to the knowledge hub. So there's something to pull from moving forward. But the fact that Inventive can look at the answers we're inserting, and then when we go and we edit an existing answer for a question, it's understanding that. And it's automatically happening in the background and we don't have to worry about it. I think that is kind of, oh gosh, what inception, if you will, for RFPs, where it continuously learns on its own and we don't have to worry about it in a sense.
Got it. Cool. And then maybe last two questions from my side. Can you describe what's been the overall experience of working with the Inventive team, like beyond the product, just the communication, support, responsiveness? Any comments you have with respect to how the engagement generally has been so far?
That's, I would say, the X factor, right? You can't put a measurement on what it is to work with certain individuals and personalities. And the X factor at Inventive is bar none one of my favorite things. The software is fantastic. It's great. It adds a tremendous amount of value. But being able to work with your team directly, having a line of communication where not only are you guys helping us understand how to utilize different features, but you're very open to feedback and you guys listen. And then you go and you implement things that can directly impact our team based on that feedback and then a level up. So it's not just solving it by itself. It's, hey, we solved it and really, as I said, you can't really put that into a quantity. It's all about just working with good people.
Awesome. Yeah, really appreciate you sharing that positive experience here. And then last question from my side. I think there is everyone can and every company can basically do better. Every product can do better. Like, what are maybe one or two things that you feel we as a company or as a product could do better to have more impact in your needs, essentially?
Yeah. I love the concept of like the co-pilot where I can go in and I can ask it questions that aren't related to an RFP and get very good responses. So having something like that more accessible feels like a direct level up, especially for me in my role, dealing with technical questions, very detailed types of schematics and connections for platforms to platforms. So being able to more readily access that information feels like a fantastic level up. So yeah, almost like a always available chat bot, Slack or email, something like.
Anthony, is there anything else you wanted to share about just working with Inventive? Any other last bits of advice you may have for customers that potentially might be considering Inventive or somebody generally in the RFP team?
Yeah, just from my personal experience and my perspective, if you don't have a tool and you have a team, multiple individuals that are responsible for RFPs, and you're anything like we were in spreadsheets, there's a better way. There's certainly a better way. So go out, contact Inventive, get in touch. I'm sure they'd be happy to understand what you're facing and be able to see how they can help you out. Highly recommend it. Partnering with the Inventive team has been a wonderful experience across the board from the initial pre-sales to now being a customer. No complaints whatsoever. And there is light at the end of the tunnel. So keep walking towards it.
Awesome. Anthony, thank you so much. Really
Yeah,
appreciate all the help.
I'm
Yeah.
glad to be here.
Awesome.